One thing I noticed, which was different before the pandemic, is now a lot of the times people are giving 10th and Masterhood at the same time. So it kind of skips a step from before the pandemic. I don't know if that trend will continue or not. Before it was like you got your 10th, but then you kind of gotta, not everyone, but you had to show that you're a master, your breadth of work rather than just individual items is at least how I viewed it. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes forward. But I mean, if it changes, it changes. It's fine.
I don't really support them having to put in more work for their masterhood, but I'm okay with them waiting to get their masterhood, mostly because like sometimes like when they get their 10th, you want more time to like get a scroll made or stuff like that, or maybe you want to really emphasize the masterhood instead of lumping it together with the 10th, like having it have its own like sort of time to shine. So I don't necessarily agree with 10th and masterhoods given at the same time, but not because they have to do more work, just because I'd like to put more emphasis and gravitas on the masterhood award as opposed to just kind of doing it all at once.
I agree. To be a little bit more nuanced with my answer, someone can get to 10th by doing 10 items. Like, it's not usually the case, honestly, but 10 items doesn't, in my opinion, show necessarily a masterhood because there's not enough body of work. But generally speaking, when they go up to the 10th, that there's other things with it to go with their body of work to show that they are potentially a master. So that's the difference for me when I say body of work rather than having to do more work. You don't necessarily have to do more work to get your masterhood. Sometimes there's just not enough work to show that you are a master.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
At least that's my take. What about you, Critias? Do you have an opinion?
I'm basically in the same boat as Ormus. I think it's not. I like the idea of being able to give a 10th at like a random KLE, for instance, and then a masterhood at a camp out. It gets the 10th out there because like you earned it. You know, here's your thing. But the big thing is going to be pushed off a little bit to either make it look nicer or whatever the reason is. I like the idea of having them both separate.
What about you, Sir Unum?
I agree with that. Um, I guess it kind of depends on the situation too. I guess, like, say there's someone who's at 9 and they've been cranking out like master stuff, right? Like they've been really, really getting it, and but for some reason they haven't got their 10th yet. If they just get their 10th, then they're just going to be waiting that much longer, even though they've been doing master level work, you know. So if they do have all the stuff ready, scrolls and all that to provide at when they award the master, then I think that's okay.
I think the issue with so many 10th and masterhoods coming together is it's expected now. Like it could be cool where it's like, oh, he got his 10th. That's really cool. Oh shit, they're giving his masterhood. That's amazing. Like it's a big surprise. But right now, if somebody's given their 10th, you're like waiting. You're like, okay, well, let's see the masterhood. You know what I mean? And like it's still cool, but it's not. I don't know. I agree with Unum. I just feel like it's not as if it's at least maybe it's because I'm jaded, which is possible. But it hasn't felt as special lately seeing other people get their masterhoods. But I don't know. It could be me. Honestly, it's Amtgard has been weird for a little while, so that it could just be a product of that.
It's an interesting conundrum because things change. It's the nature of a culture that things will change and evolve. So I'm just curious to see how it will evolve and how it will be in a couple years from now. Because it really depends on the monarch, who's the monarch. I mean, they're the ones handing it out, so it's up to the monarch that gets in power. Some respect it means it's up to the populace because the populace is voting for that monarch. Get Veronica on here. Let's get her opinion. That's the queen. I'm joking. I wouldn't force her. Put her on the spot.
I could ask her. She's definitely in her pajamas right now, and I'm not sure if she wants to be put on camera, but I'm sure she definitely has opinions. That's for sure.
Yeah, she would. But it's interesting because I haven't talked to any of the monarchs about it or anything like that. I just kind of shrugged and went with it.